Is karma real? Justin Trudeau would probably say yes. He seems obsessed with two things in life. One is his hairstyle, the other is lecturing others. But for a change, Trudeau is at the receiving end. A Canadian court has pulled up his government. He has been accused of overreach. Why? Over his crackdown on protests. I'll tell you the whole story. In early 2022, Canadian truckers gathered in Ottawa. Trudeau had unveiled new COVID guidelines, but the truckers did not like them, so they protested. Trudeau responded with an iron fist. He invoked special emergency powers, that too for the first time in Canada's history. What followed was a crackdown. Hundreds of police officers were called in. They began driving the protesters away. Take a look at the operation.
Shame on you!
More than 200 people were arrested. Even bank accounts were frozen. That's right, Trudeau wanted to cut off funding for the truckers, so he froze bank accounts. But now the court has pulled him up. Trudeau's decision has been declared unreasonable and not justified. The court says it violated rights and freedoms. Let me put that in simpler words. Justin Trudeau misused his powers. His crackdown was unnecessary and excessive. The opposition is pouncing on the verdict. They say Prime Minister Trudeau is illegally suppressing citizens. And has the Prime Minister reacted? Not yet. He sent his deputy to face the fire. Instead of apologizing, the government is doubling down. They say the crackdown was the right call.
We were convinced at the time, I was convinced at the time, it was the right thing to do. It was the necessary thing to do. I remain, and we remain, convinced of that.
So no remorse. The plan is to appeal this verdict in a higher court. But talk about irony. Trudeau has made a career out of lecturing, out of telling other countries what to do. Well, his own court is now telling him something. It says his policies were wrong. But Trudeau refuses to listen. Let me take you back to 2020. India's capital was gripped by a farmers' protest. Of course, Trudeau waded in. He said he was concerned by the situation. But India did not use emergency powers. In fact, the controversial laws were later withdrawn. So in the end, the people got what they wanted in India. Compare that to Canada. A, Trudeau did not lift the vaccine rules, and B, he removed the protesters by force. Yet somehow, Justin Trudeau is the knight in shining armor, standing up for freedom of expression. What explains this? A sense of Western superiority. Protests in the West are billed as dangerous. Even the truckers protest in Canada. Their deputy prime minister said their national economic security was under threat. So crackdowns are fine. But elsewhere, protests are not dangerous. They are depicted as peaceful shows of dissent, so no crackdowns. They must be allowed to fester and disrupt ordinary life. This attitude needs to change. We need to use the same yardstick everywhere. Let's hope Canadian courts can make Justin Trudeau understand that.